If he's not jabbing, he has no defense. If he's not going to jab, the guy's going to walk right in on him like he did. Next fight, use your jab, different fight. For the final uppercut, so he can anticipate the combination. If he was flipping the jab, the guy wouldn't do the combination. When he's jabbing, Canelo should be moving.
Mike Tyson caught the boxing community off guard by presenting Canelo Alvarez with an unusual tactical suggestion for overcoming Terence Crawford in their much-anticipated bout. Meanwhile, Terence Crawford shared his excitement about stepping into the ring with another top-tier champion like Canelo, expressing that their September 13th meeting will be a night fans will remember for years. He spoke with genuine enthusiasm, confident that their clash will deliver the kind of high-level action that keeps boxing alive in the hearts of its supporters.
Definitely honored to be in that situation and a position to share the ring with another great. You know, it's going to be a hell of a night come September 3rd.
Crawford went on to acknowledge that both he and Canelo dealt with backlash following their most recent performances, admitting that critics are eager to see them redeem themselves. He promised to bring a far more assertive style into this fight, urging viewers to expect relentless action from the opening bell. According to Crawford, this isn't just about winning. It's about proving to the world that he remains one of the most dangerous fighters in the sport.
So is his performance against William Skull? Did you take more confidence from that fight?
A lot of people criticized my last performance, so, you know what I mean? We both need to step it up, I guess.
That's one from me, Terence. Obviously, we've seen Turkey Al-Sheikh mention no Tom and Jerry fights. You've said yourself you're going to put it on him, you're going to come for him. Do we see an explosive Terence Crawford that people won't have been expecting to see?
That's why you got to watch the fight so you can see.
I'll get a message to Canelo.
See you soon.
Mike Tyson, however, offered a cautionary perspective, stating that Crawford should avoid taking this matchup because of the significant size difference between the two fighters. Tyson pointed to Crawford's less-than-dominant moments against the bigger and awkward Israel Madrimov, suggesting that such physical disadvantages could become a serious problem against someone as powerful and skilled as Canelo Alvarez.
What do you think about Terence Crawford calling out Canelo?
You know, I don't like that fight.
Why not?
I don't like that fight. It's just too much weight, you know, and he had a close fight with the last guy he fought, Terence, but this guy was big and he was awkward. He was really awkward. He shouldn't have fought that guy. He should have fought a guy that would just come straight at him. The guy was too awkward.
He's herky-jerky.
Yeah.
In another remark, Tyson gave Canelo a direct piece of advice to lean heavily on his jab as a primary weapon against Terence Crawford. He explained that a sharp and consistent jab could disrupt Crawford's rhythm, limit his offensive bursts, and create openings for heavier punches later in the fight. Tyson stressed that using such a basic but often underestimated tool might be the key to breaking Crawford's game plan.
If he's not jabbing, he has no defense. If he's not going to jab, the guy's going to walk right in on him like he did. Next fight, use your jab, different fight. Jab. When he was jabbing, Canelo should be moving, flipping the jab. So the final uppercut, so he can anticipate the combination. If he was flipping the jab, the guy wouldn't do the combination.
Former contender Gabe Rosado leaned slightly toward picking Canelo to win, though his reasoning focused on style matchups. He recalled how William Skull's movement and awkward rhythm made Canelo choose not to press too aggressively in their fight, instead conserving energy for smarter moments. Rosado also noted how Madrimov's physicality gave Crawford trouble at 154 pounds, adding that facing Canelo at a full 168 pounds is an entirely different and far more dangerous challenge.
Madrimov did give Crawford problems. I favor Canelo, not by a lot, but I do favor him. I just think that, you know, I think the Skull fight was just a bad style. And I think Canelo was like, why force the issue? And I mean, I'm up, this guy's running, I'm not gonna take a chance. So I think that it was that kind of fight for Canelo. But Madrimov did give Crawford problems, you know what I'm saying? And where I felt like, damn, At 54, he gave you problems. 68 is different.
Terence Crawford, on the other hand, appears locked in and mentally prepared, spending training camp refining his technique, raising his intensity levels, and sticking to a disciplined fight plan. Every sparring round and conditioning drill is being carefully calculated to prepare him for the unique blend of strength and skill that Canelo brings. The atmosphere in his camp has been described as laser-focused, with no distractions allowed to interfere with preparation for the biggest fight of his career.
You have to be relentless. You have to never let off the gas, never stop, never quit. Never allow anyone to talk you out of the dream, the vision, and ideas. And understand that for every level, there's another devil. It is the devil's job to create challenges, issues, and conflicts, insecurities, fear, because he wants to put you to a test. But I can tell you now, I beat the devil off every day because I just don't stop. And the devil is so mad. This guy, doesn't matter if he gets sick, it doesn't matter what happens to his money or his finances. Every time he gets out of his bed and he's on a mission to get it done. As you begin to look at your life.
Trainer Jose Benavidez Sr. gave a blunt assessment, claiming that Crawford is not the same fighter he once was, pointing to what he sees as a decline in reflexes, punching power, and footwork. He predicted that Canelo would likely seek to end the bout by knockout, forcing Crawford to rely on quick-scoring bursts and movement to survive. In his view, this dynamic could create a tense and risky fight, where one mistake from Crawford might be enough to decide the outcome.
Crawford has not been looking really good. We saw how he looked in his past fight. So Canelo, you know, like I said, you know, the reflexes are not there, you know, this power is not there. The knees are not the same. So Canelo's going to try to knock him out, but Crawford's going to do what he does best. He's going to move around, try to win the rounds, touch him, and move, you know. I think if Crawford stays, Canelo can knock him out, you know, because Canelo's the bigger guy. I don't think Crawford's going to come and give the fans what they want, you know. He don't care, you know, he's just going to come and win and beat him. I don't know if they're going to give it to him, but it's just going to be a Tom and Jerry.
British fighter Jack Catterall gave credit to both men as exceptional athletes, but ultimately leaned toward Crawford coming out victorious. He emphasized that if Crawford were to win, it should not be viewed as a shock result, as his skill set and adaptability give him the tools to succeed against almost anyone in the sport.
I've been changing my mind, chopping and changing. Two tremendous fighters in their own right. I won't call it an upset, but I'm going for a Crawford victory.
Virgil Ortiz said he doesn't think Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez due to the size and weight difference, noting that Crawford is jumping 3 weight classes to face one of boxing's best. While he praised Crawford's intelligence and skill, Ortiz believes Canelo's strength, size, and sharpness give him the edge. He referenced Canelo's check hook against Berlanga as proof he still has elite timing. Ortiz admitted Crawford has a chance, but if he wins, he would become Ortiz's #1 fighter of all time.
I think he is, but if he beats Canelo, he'll be like my #1 fighter of all time.
You don't think Crawford beats Canelo?
I don't think so. And look, hear me out. I respect Crawford and everything that he's doing, but he just moved up from 147, so I'm just going to treat him as a 147 pounder. He's jumping up 3 weight classes to fight someone who was like the #1 fighter in all of boxing, you know. The jump would be hard, even if it was just like some top 10,
right,
you know.
But would you say he's a very smart fighter?
Yes.
Very calculated,
yes.
Right? Don't you think that maybe he sees something that most people aren't seeing?
I think he does, but the thing is he gonna be able to even like to capitalize on it? Because he's a smaller fighter, and look, I think people are thinking at the aspect of, can Crawford do it? Yes, I think he can.
Veteran trainer Robert Garcia issued a warning about the dangers of adding too much muscle mass ahead of his fight. He cautioned that excessive weight could slow Crawford's footwork, weaken his combinations, and diminish the very tools that make him special. Garcia compared the situation to Floyd Mayweather's approach, pointing out that Floyd succeeded against larger opponents by relying on skill, timing, and intelligence rather than attempting to match them in size.
With Crawford, I think gaining too much weight and too much muscle might affect them. If they're thinking of surviving and being able to take a punch and being able to go rounds, then they're trying to maybe go the distance and they'll be happy with that. But I think Crawford's natural talent, Mayweather had it. You know, you guys were just mentioning it right now that Crawford, Mayweather never needed to gain weight and never needed to be heavy to be able to beat those bigger guys. I think Crawford's skills, we give Crawford a chance because we know how good he is, how, you know, his skills, his speed, his combinations. But if he's gaining so much weight, he might not be able to do those. He might not be able to have those same skills when it comes to his speed, his footwork, because of the weight.
Abel Sanchez praised both Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez as smart, skilled fighters, but leaned toward Canelo because of his size and defensive ability. He noted that Canelo has taken huge shots from hard hitters like Gennady Golovkin, Dmitry Bivol, and Sergey Kovalev without fading, proving he can absorb power at the highest level. Sanchez also pointed out that Crawford tends to get hit more often, even at 154 pounds, and stressed that no matter how good Crawford looks or how much weight he adds, facing a man with Canelo's size and strength is a completely different challenge.
Well, first of all, Terence Crawford is a great fighter, but so is Canelo. I think that, in my opinion, their IQ is similar, except Canelo doesn't get hit like Crawford gets hit. In my opinion, Canelo's a bigger man. Not that he started out as a bigger man, but he's now a bigger man. He has been hit by not only Gennady, who's one of the biggest punchers that a coach and I've ever seen, but he's also been hit by Bivol, by Kovalev, who's a big puncher. You know, he's been hit by big guys. Crawford had a hard time with a 154-pounder who hit him often. So I think that no matter how much weight he puts on, no matter how smart he thinks he is or how big he thinks he is, he's going to be getting hit by a truck.
Shane Mosley, the former multi-division world champion, also predicted a Canelo victory. While he acknowledged Crawford's exceptional skill and ability to beat anyone, Mosley believes that Canelo's experience and strength at 168 will prove decisive. He's confident that if Canelo sticks to his usual strategy, he won't have trouble handling the challenge on September 13th.
It'll be a great fight. I think both guys are great fighters, but I think Canelo's just too big, and you know they mistake him as being just a guy at 168, not a regular guy, and Crawford being the more talented. But that's not the case. They're both talented. Yeah. But the only thing is Canelo has them by two-weight division. So I think that Canelo beats him pretty easily, but we'll see. If Crawford does good, I mean, kudos to Crawford. You know, I'm happy for him. If he can pull off, great. Yeah. But my mental, my mind's telling me that Canelo's gonna probably.
However, Sergio Mora sees things differently as the fight gets closer, initially favoring Canelo. Mora now calls the matchup an even 50-50 contest. He describes Crawford as fierce and intimidating, noting that he has built a strong, muscular frame that now resembles a middleweight. Mora thinks Crawford has a real chance to outbox Canelo, land clean shots, and potentially make Canelo show his age. In his eyes, this fight could be the best performance of Crawford's career and a historic moment in boxing.
And I just think, ultimately, Crawford just is a mean mofo. This dude, mean. I mean, I met Bud a couple of times. You know, he pulls me aside and stuff. He gives me that look. He's a mean, intimidating dude, man. Yeah. And then I've been seeing how he's been growing into the frame. He's gotten big. He's gotten muscular, and he's looking more like a middleweight, super middleweight. I just, man, the closer the fight gets, the more I'm looking at Crawford like, this dude might do something, man. Because all along, I haven't changed my tune. I say Canelo's going to win this fight, but he's not going to come out of it unscathed. I can see him being bruised up, battered, maybe a little bit of blood, but his size is going to come in the end. Now I'm starting to change my tune. I can maybe see the day that we've seen Canelo finally get old. No excuses, just Crawford pot-shotting him, having the night of his life, and we just watch something great. I can visualize it, man. So the closer this fight gets, the more that I'm looking at it like a 50-50.
Rising star Abdullah Mason also believes Crawford has a strong chance to win. He says the bout will ultimately come down to who performs better on fight night and who arrives more prepared. Mason has faith in Crawford's ability, stating confidently, "I got Crawford."
I got faith that Crawford could take it. I got faith in Crawford. I feel like Crawford, he might surprise some people with his strength. So it all depends on the better fighter that night and who prepared, you know.
Roy Jones Jr. isn't worried about the size gap between the two at all. He believes that true skill carries over to any weight class. For Jones, the key question is whether Crawford can handle the power at a higher weight, and he thinks he can, especially since Crawford has trained with bigger fighters like super middleweights and light heavyweights. To Roy, it's not about size, but about talent and technique, and Crawford has plenty of both.
When you know how to box, when you're as skillful as Terence Crawford is, weight don't really matter much. All thing that matters with the weight is can you take the punch, and I'm sure you've been sparring with super middles and light heavies, so I'm sure you probably can take the punch. So that's the only thing when you got skill. Now, if you don't have skill, you can't take the weight, take it up, because you're gonna lose your punch, you're gonna lose everything. When you got skill, all your stuff that you have goes up with you. You talk to the GOAT. I went out with a heavyweight.
No, it's a lot of the people, which is why I brought up, would use the weight as an advantage for Canelo. But I agree, and you're right. Canelo fights obviously taller fighters all the time and wins. It's about skill as opposed to, a lot of the time anyway, as opposed to weight.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm not really worried about the weight. I'm worried about the skill level that they use.
Brian Norman Sr. is also firmly in Crawford's corner. After once betting against him and losing money, Norman says he's now a believer. He praises Crawford as a dangerous fighter with elite boxing intelligence, the kind of fighter who always finds a way to win. For Norman, the idea of Crawford beating Canelo isn't far-fetched at all. In fact, he thinks it's entirely achievable.
I got Crawford. I'm sorry. I'm about to say Canelo. Where'd that come from? I got Crawford, man. I learned to not bet against Crawford. I won't bet against Crawford again. I lost a lot of money betting against Crawford. So, you know, those days of my life are over with. I've drunk the Kool-Aid.
You're a believer now.
I'm a believer now. Yeah. Crawford is that guy, man. Crawford is that guy. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, and you know, I've seen Crawford personally. I've seen him in the ring personally, and I mean, he a bad man. He a bad man. So I'm gonna have to say, just like with my son, I'm gonna have to say, just with the boxing IQ, with in certain things, man, in certain things, I think that Crawford's gonna figure out a way to win. I don't think this is so. I don't think for how some people are looking at this, I don't think it's so far-fetched that Crawford can beat him. I just don't see that so far-fetched as some people are trying to make.
On the other side, Ryan Garcia doesn't see Crawford pulling it off. While he admits Crawford could surprise him, Garcia points to the size difference as a major factor. Having trained with Canelo, he says Canelo is strong enough to push back heavyweights. This will be the first time in a while Canelo is the naturally bigger man, and Garcia believes that will allow him to fight with more freedom and effectiveness.
Two great fighters, great things can happen. But I could see even Crawford getting knocked out like Amir Khan style though.
Do you give Terence Crawford any chance to beat Canelo?
I don't see it happening, but he could definitely prove me wrong. But I just think, bro, like, I mean, I've trained with Canelo, I've been around him. Bro can really push back heavyweight. So I don't know how he's, like, because this is the first time Canelo's actually bigger than somebody in a long time. So it's like the weights are lifted off, and now he could fight even more freely, you know? So I'm actually interested to see, bro. I can't wait for the fight. I'm definitely going to be backing Canelo, but, you know, Crawford is a great fighter, and he could surprise me. But right now, where I would put my money is Canelo.
Lonnie, another voice in the debate, predicts that Canelo will take control as the fight progresses. He notes that Israel Madrimov gave Crawford problems and believes moving up from 160 to 168 will be a steep challenge, especially since Canelo could rehydrate to around 200 pounds on fight night. With Canelo's durability and history of never being stopped, Lonnie doubts Crawford will be able to keep him at bay.
I think you favored Canelo to win the fight.
Yeah.
Has anything changed from then? Is it now closer?
No.
Not changed?
Nope.
Nothing.
I think it's going to be a good fight for the first 4 rounds. I think Canelo's size is just going to, take over. Like I said, I could be wrong. Crawford's phenomenal. But from what I've seen with the kid Maktrinoff and the way he gave him trouble moving up 2 more weight classes, 60 to 68, and Canelo going to come in about 200 pounds. I just think I also think Canelo's never been stopped, and I don't think he's going to be able to keep Canelo off of him.
And that wraps up today's breakdown. What do you think about the upcoming clash between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford? Who's taking the win on September 13th? Drop your predictions in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our other videos for more boxing analysis.